Welcome back to Between Rounds. We're here for episode 2 of Cageside Rewind. We're with the one and only Rob Emerson, the Saint, the MMA Alchemist. I mean, what's with this nickname? Tell me about it, Rob.
I don't know. The Saint was kind of like my fight name growing up. The Alchemist is just my my Instagram handle.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they started calling me the Saint when I did the Ultimate Fighter back then.
That's when you got the name?
Yeah, we were into that movie, The Boondock Saints, from back then. And all my family's from Boston. I grew up like Catholic and shit like that. So they're like, oh, you gotta go with the Saint. So
Yeah, when I was looking at this morning, I saw that. I didn't know the origination of it. That's cool. Well, thanks for being here with us, man.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's cool. We're doing this.
So we were talking about. I talked to you about this, but I was thinking about some of my favorite fighters, asking about their favorite fights. And as we went, I had a fight in mind that I wanted to do, and then you had a different one. So we're going to kind of tackle both of them today.
Heck yeah.
We're going to more talk about the first one in terms of like history of MMA and all that stuff, because I think that's the coolest part of it. I love getting back into it because you're one of the OGs of this sport.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, man.
We're on.
Yeah. So Jens Pulver.
Yeah.
You fought Jens Pulver in your first pro fight.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
Yeah, that was wild. It's crazy because in like no combat sports does anyone fight like the top guy, the number one guy, the champion. In kickboxing, boxing, MMA at the time, like in no sports does a guy with zero pro experience get a chance to fight the best guy in the world. And the opportunity was presented to me. Just because I had the only experience I had before that was I did 3 pancrase style fights, which was open hand to the face and closed fist to the body, no gloves, and then submissions and grappling. And I had 3 knockouts. I knocked all 3 of my opponents out with an open palm, and I guess they thought that was kind of cool. And then from there, Ken Shamrock's dad was actually at my last fight, where I knocked the guy out, and so he invited me to come down and train a fight at the Lions Den out in San Diego when it was all those guys. And I remember getting there that day. I was 149, like soaking wet, and my opponent was 184.
Oh.
I remember the weight difference. It was over 30 pounds, and some big boxer, and they brought me down there to just be a piece of meat, But I ended up fucking dusting the guy, had him bleeding like a faucet out of the mouth and nose, and I won a decision against him. It was cool.
And that was what got you to the Pulver fight?
So that was a closed-fisted fight, amateur MMA fight, right, with 3 3-minute rounds. And then after that, I ended up going away, doing a short bid in the county for 9 months. And then right before I did that bid, I saw Jens Pulver fight BJ for the first ever lightweight world championship. The UFC didn't have a lightweight division before that, right? It was only welterweight and above. So good luck being a UFC fighter. You had to be, a bigger guy.
170 or above, right?
Right. So it was really cool to have the introduction of the lightweight division, for lighter weight class athletes, 155. And so it was a really big deal for me and my friends. I remember watching it at my friend Jason's and seeing it, and fucking it was so cool. And then BJ had that arm bar that right at the bell. It was like this truly saved by the bell. And then Jens ended up squeaking out the decision. But it was just cool for the sport, cool for the fans. And I remember watching and being like, man, fuck, cool, I want to be in the UFC. I'm going to be a UFC fighter. Because at the time I had those 4 fights and was training with Marco Ruas at the time, who he was the 2-time champion of the tournament style fights they did in the UFC.
Yeah, I remember. He was the next Brazilian, right? After Royce was first, and they kind of were looking for somebody.
Yep.
Boy, he could kick people's legs off.
Fuck. And at that division, those leg kicks do a lot of damage. He had a guy like Pedro Hizo was his protege, Babalu. Like, all these guys are my sparring partners when I first started training.
Craziness.
I was the first American to get a black belt from him. So it was cool just to be around that.
And what's his system?
Vale Tudo, it's called.
Because the Vale Tudo fighters used to go against the BJJ guys in Brazil. It was like a big thing back then.
Yeah, he would tell me crazy, like gym storms and stuff that would happen between all that stuff. And I think the Luta Livre guys are a little bit more experienced in like leg attacks, leg submissions, shoulder locks, and the Gi's more like high-level grappling. And
the Marco Ruas fight that I remember so much is him just kicking Paul Varelans. And Paul Varelans was what, 280 pounds or something?
The polar bear, yeah.
Yeah, just huge, and just kicked his leg out until the kid quit.
Yeah, he fell.
That was crazy. And so you got to train with him a lot.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, for your first, I think, 4 years or so, my training was with him. And like I said, I was the first American to get a black belt. And then from there, I left and kind of started training with Joker from the Tap Out crew, and then Team Oyama. And I was at Team Oyama with Coach Colin Oyama for like 7 years or so. And then from there, I went to go work with Perillo and all them, and at Ruka, and then Kings MMA as well.
Yeah.
And then I came out here.
That's a whole history of stuff. So you were with Marco when you fought Jens Pulver.
Yeah.
And Jens Pulver, just so you know, because I looked up this, he had 4 amateur fights, 15 pro fights, including BJ Penn, a win, Carl Uno, a win, John Lewis, a win, Joe Stevenson, and Dean Thomas.
Damn.
And you fought him in your first pro fight.
Damn.
That's craziness.
Those are some names.
Those are some great names. I mean, Joe Stevenson fought for a championship, BJ Penn. Carl Uno was a champion over in Japan.
Star.
John Lewis was kind of the first guy that beat a Gracie in Extreme Fighting Challenge, something like that.
Yeah.
He beat the guy from Chicago. Mm-hmm. Anyway, like that's who you jumped in with? Are you crazy?
Yeah. I remember when they asked me. It was 3 weeks after doing my sentence, and I got out, and they asked me, "Hey, crazy, but how would you feel about fighting Jens Little Evil Pulver, in a couple of weeks?" And I said, "What?" And like I had him I ordered all the magazines after that Jens Pulver BJ fight, and because it was about 9 months, and I ordered him. He was on the cover of all the martial arts magazines, so I had his poster up on my bunk. He's the first face I saw when I woke up, and the last thing I saw before I went to sleep, and he's like my idol at the time. And when I got asked that question, I was just like, without hesitation, I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. What a great opportunity for me to test my skills against the best in the world at the time. And I just said to myself, is this something I want to do and invest my time and energy into? Let's go see. Let's go find out.
World,
let's go find out. You know what I mean?
And
that's literally was my mentality. And Coach Marco was such a good psychological coach. He really had you believing in yourself. I mean, it's incredible. If you go back and watch the film, and me and my friends laugh about it, that when he courted me for that fight, and it's a big deal. He had Matt Hughes in his corner, Robbie Lawler, the who's who of MMA at the time, right?
Well, that Militech team was crazy back then.
Yeah, they were the guys. They were the team, And Marco doing their rounds, if you watch the footage, he didn't say one single word. He just had his arms crossed like this. And he's like, yeah, good Hubbard. Just giving me positive affirmations, but no coaching or anything until in between the rounds, And he almost gave me a sink or swim mentality and had me really rely on my own skills. And it was cool that the psychological upgrade I had from that, I think really carried me through the rest of my career, and all the sparring I've done, I was forced just to win these moments, you know, and it was really cool.
Well, and how did the fight go? It was a scrap.
Yeah. I knew I had to just take his lead leg out. Unfortunately, training for that fight, I separated my AC joint, the collarbone, and had my arm in a sling all the way until the week of the fight, so where I can finally start doing some band work and get some range of motion. But it was full. It still sticks up to this day. So I literally couldn't lift weights. I couldn't hit pads. I couldn't spar. I had to be careful grappling. The only thing I could do was plyometrics and kick the bag and practice that inside kick. So that was my main goal, was just taking out his inside leg when he came forward to throw that big left hand he has. And it served me well. I mean, I had a little good, highlighting parts in that fight. And had my hands been a little bit more trained and shit, I feel like I could have sat down on my hands a little bit.
You landed some good shots in that fight.
Yeah.
When I watched the film of that, it was a good fight.
Thanks,
for
Coach.
you to compete with a world champion like that in your first pro fight.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Thanks,
well, anyway, that was the fight that I thought of, but then you mentioned Manny Gamburyan. So how did, tell me again, you were telling me off camera, how did you get involved? You were on The Ultimate Fighter, right? So tell me about how that came about.
Yeah, and so that, we were on The Ultimate Fighter together, and he was known to be the takedown king, and was, said to take everybody down and submit them and everything. But during the tryouts, he couldn't take me down, and there was a buzz about it. Oh, Manny can't take Emerson down, and honestly, it kind of bothered me that guys had that kind of style, to just go right to the takedown. It's let's fucking see what's up. This is a sport about violence, and it just rubbed me the wrong way that he would try to take me down if we were to fight like that. So I really wanted to go see, let's go see with him.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to, do some funny shit in the show to he was sleeping one time on the couch, and I remember I had the fucking air horn. I fucking let it go right by his ear while he was sleeping. And like those guys get pissed, dude. You know, those Armenians, they get fucking pissed. So like I was trying to fucking, you know, and then he freaked out. Who the fuck was that? I'll fucking kick your ass. You better fucking bullshit. I'm hiding right around the corner. And as soon as he calms down and once falls back asleep, I go over again. Just let it rip. And like
I'll bet you his roof about blew off.
Yeah. But whatever, he found out it was me. He didn't do anything, you know. But you just get bored in the house too. You're out there for 6 weeks, and they take away your phones and like your music and any ability for like entertainment.
Yeah.
So your brain gets just fucking. It gets.
Well, there's a lot of scenes in that house. There's one. Didn't Nate Diaz try to come after you a little bit in that?
Yeah. When I wrote on the wall.
What did you write?
It was like a wrestling thing from back then, right? They did the fucking suck it thing, right? I forgot what wrestlers did it, but I just really suck it, Team Pulver, because me and all my friends ran around and did that, like harmless, you know. Yeah. But
the old NFL players did it a lot.
Oh really? Oh yeah, when they scored.
Oh,
and then they made it a rule you can't do it anymore, right? Making it illegal.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we were boys, and then he told me that the way he reacted, like who the fuck that he didn't know it was me. He's like, but I had to keep going at that point. I should have. Like I don't know.
That's awesome.
So I had to fight Nate in the house.
Well, man, and that whole house, like who's in there? Nate Diaz, Gray Maynard, Joe Lozon, Gabe Rudiker, Matt Wyman. All those guys had extensive UFC careers. I mean, Nate has had a great run, and Gray fought for the title a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then having BJ around, how was that?
It was incredible, just a wealth of knowledge. It was really cool, and I became really good friends with BJ on the show, and then from there I met Perillo, who was my coach for a while after that, and it was just really cool. A lot of knowledge, getting traded around the room, and just seeing how other guys train, both from a strength and conditioning point of view, and as well as like MMA martial arts training. So for me, I loved it all. I still have my notebook saved of like taking notes from everybody that I worked with. You know?
That's awesome.
They had Randy Couture come out and show us some stuff, so I had a bunch of notes from him, and it was really cool. I was just soaking it up like a sponge, you know, and I think there was the most talent on that show. Up to that point, they said that was like one of the best seasons they've had, and Dana really liked that fight with Nate. He said, man, that could have been, there was a UFC card on the night after our fight in the house, and he said, man, that fight could have been on the UFC, like, so he was pretty stoked. So overall, it was a good experience.
And then the finale, that fight with Gray Maynard, how weird was that?
Yeah, frick. That's another injury I had before when camp started. I was training and I kind of popped my rib out. It still kind of sticks out a little bit, but I couldn't I'm like, dude, I had to fight. It was the ultimate, it was the finale, so I couldn't pull out of the fight because then I wouldn't have got my contract, you know. So, and yeah, they matched me with Gray. I'm like, fuck, I'll go out there and give it like one round, and hopefully my body holds up and see what I do. And I had a good first round. I even got the first takedown of the fight. Me and Matt Wyman laugh about it because he's like, you could have bragged to Gray that you got the first takedown, because he's a stud wrestler, dude.
He's a stud.
4-time All-American. Like he's my
Michigan State.
Fuck, dude, beast, dude. He's my.
Hopefully your boys 3. Well, it was 2 back then, right? 2.
Sure.
They should have been yelling. Oh, he'll never hear the end of it.
For sure.
Hopefully he'll see this. We'll give him a bad time. Great, that was 2, by the way.
But yeah, he drilled me a couple of times. He had my back on his hooks, and he's a heavy fucking 155er, you know.
Yeah.
I have like more of a 145-pound frame, and the guys all started getting big. And I remember when Donald Cerrone came down to the division, I was like, fuck, all right, I'm out. And that's when I went to featherweight. So I'm like, these guys are getting too big. You know?
Well, so your favorite fight is Manny. And you guys had a little heat. You fought one fight in the UFC before you fought Manny. Who was that against?
Kaitaro Nakamura.
Yeah.
That Keitaro, they call him. He's a big Japanese star, and man, big black belt. Another guy who was 6'2", you know, taller guy, big for the division. And Nate told me that he had came out to Nate's Academy up in Stockton and trained, and said that he was like giving everybody problems. He was like, dude, that kid's really good boxing, good jiu-jitsu and everything. And they said that guy's good. So we talked after that fight. He said Nate was impressed with how well I handled him, because I just negated the takedowns. I kept him on the feet, you know, and just, you know, forced him to exchange with me.
Yeah. And
he was a little taller guy. So in Japan, they don't have a lot of wrestling, so it's harder for a tall Japanese guy to take. You know, there's a big transition there where you can kind of catch him and prevent it. But that was UFC 81, and then UFC 89 is when I fought Manny.
You guys had some heat going into it?
Yeah, there was a little bit of just buzz from the show, from him not being able to take me down, and kind of like, you know, me kind of calling him out on the show, and then nothing happened. And then before the fight, before the walkout, I'm expecting him to try to take me down, obviously, but I remember the little screen on the TV as I was getting ready to make the walk like out the aisle. and it had Manny's face. He just walked in the ring and was showing his thing, and he's like, "I'm gonna come out and throw the fastest punches you've ever seen."
Manny's going for quick, the quickest punches in the world.
I'm gonna go out there and be so fast, and I'm just like, I'm okay. A, who talks like that? But B, like, okay, fuck, let's see.
Yeah.
And like, good thing he told me, because I would have been maybe more on the reserve, worried about the takedown. But when he told me that, I'm like, okay, we'll put that to the test. We'll see if he trades. And sure as shit, when the first bell started, the ring, he started swinging and coming forward with that chin up, and I ducked and threw a right hand over the top, and.
Well, let's watch it. Let's start.
All right.
All right, who's this kid walking out? Look at this guy.
I know, tap out everywhere, huh?
So you were close with the Tap Out crew?
Yeah, they helped sponsor me and all the boys coming up, Ian McCall and all of us, the whole Orange County crew, and it was cool. We got to see them kind of blossom and blow up and kind of, you know.
You had mentioned you trained with one of those guys?
Yeah, Joker. The Joker had the Joker's Academy down there, but I was friends at Mask and Tower and all them. Like,
oh, I didn't know that your coach there. I didn't know it was that early in your career.
Yeah, Konayama, Chiva, and that's who I was with when I was got on the Ultimate Fighter show.
Those are pretty good coaches there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nice work.
Yeah, Jiva's really good black belt. Had a lot of good elbows and
the
stuff.
arm collector. He fought some UFC. Or he fought some MMA.
Right, yeah.
Right? Because that's where he got all those arm locks.
Yep. I'm a little bit older too, but man, he did good.
It's funny to see Rudy Hernandez in there. Rudy's a badass boxing coach. His brother was a world champion. Rudy's coaching 2 world champions right now. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, right.
That Cutman Rudy. What are you thinking right here?
Fuckers, I'm not this little dude out. You know, I was ready to trade with him once I saw what he said on the TV screen walking out. I kind of took it personal. And
did you have a good camp leading up to this fight?
I did, yeah. I got no injuries. Yeah, healthy, no injuries that one. And
well, you know how that is for us too with all our fighters. If you walk in there healthy, you feel pretty good. Yeah,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, so many things can go wrong, you know, in camp.
All right, old Bruce Buffer introducing you. How's that feel? Was it weird or cool? Was it anything for you?
That was awesome. Yeah, it was cool. I just felt so ready. I just felt like I did all that preparation needed, and I felt like I was right where I was supposed to be.
Do you, when you walk out, do you pick a certain song? Did you have a song that meant something to you?
Yeah, there was the movie that came out at the time called Pineapple Express, which was super funny, and like me and all my boys watched that, and there was the trailer to that movie that came out. So, and it seemed to get the crowd on the feet. I was always big on like your walkout song should like set the tone and have the crowd rooting for you, you know. So I played music that I thought the crowd would get behind, and it was perfect. I love the energy.
We've talked about how music is kind of primal for human beings, and it gets us going a certain way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How tall was Manny? 5'4", 4'10" or something?
5'6", maybe. Yeah, he's a little guy.
Sorry, man, that was a joke.
But that's why he was able to wrestle and get guys, because once he got on, he was so strong and shit, you know.
Well, and at 55. Didn't he go drop down a weight too later?
Yeah, I went down to 45.
All right.
He fought in the WC.
All right, let's see the fastest punches that have ever been. Man, his chin's up already, Coach. Oh! And that left hook.
And that's it.
What was the feeling like right then?
You know how they say like hitting a baseball? Like you don't feel the baseball hit. It was just, I didn't even feel that first shot hit. It was just, I looked and he was down.
The right hand was great, but the way he dropped from that left hook on the ground was crazy. They show it again here, I think, in a second.
From the knees, yeah.
Yeah.
I had no leverage. I just kind of pushed off my left knee and just up. I remember that last shot though. I went to go take his head off, and the ref jumped and blocked me from throwing it. But I remember trying to decapitate him with that one.
Pull back, right hand. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That was...
His head bounced off the ground.
What?
Yeah, see, I was only on one knee. My other knee wasn't even on the ground.
Man, that is crazy.
Like I just had my left knee on the ground. That's all the torque I had.
Oh, man, what a great performance that was.
Yeah, just a fun night. So I think it's on the top 10 fastest knockouts in the UFC, like time-wise.
I looked at it. It's top 15.
Top 15?
Top 15.
Fuck, all right, we'll
But
take
you
it.
told me it should have been 10 seconds because it was 12 seconds.
Yeah, if you watch the fight, the ref jumped in at 10 seconds to stop it, and they took like an extra 2 seconds to stop the clock. So motherfuckers game like.
You know what? It's 10 seconds. Let's call it 10.
All right, there we go.
We're making it official today.
Would that have made the top 10 list if it was 10 seconds?
12.
12.
All
right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because there's like 8 of them at 8 seconds.
Oh, there
There's
is?
a whole bunch. And modern day Jorge Masvidal
Damn.
hitting Ben Askren. There's some of those that have happened. But Coach, that is incredible. What do you think how did that send you forward? Like this fight set you up for the future? Did it make you feel a certain way?
Yeah, I just knew I really had to focus on my ground and wrestling and cover areas that I wasn't necessarily, up to par at. And, my career really kind of just got serious after that. I was like, okay, I just beat the runner.
Well, you're an old school guy. Like you trained when people, for you to come out of the spot and 2 weeks later fight Jens Pulver, who's the champion of the world, like that doesn't really happen anymore. You know what I mean? So in those old school days, some of those matchups would happen where somebody that was relatively inexperienced would fight somebody that's great, and you were too, but just nobody knew yet. So did that convince you like you wanted this as a career?
For sure. After the Jens Pulver fight, I was just on cloud 9. I was so proud of myself that I did that good. I remember being so dehydrated and exhausted, and like we fought in a big warehouse where it was so humid. It was out in like Minnesota somewhere, out in the boonies, and it was Brad Colhair's show. It was called like Ultimate Wrestling. I remember it was the name of the promotion, and it was so humid and just being so exhausted. But I remember with how I physically felt, and I was really proud of my performance. I said, okay, that's what I came here to do. I came here to find out, and I was proud of myself. So
when you fought all over the world, man.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, I fought for the ACB company that's out there with Russia, and so they took me around, fought in the Middle East and
Bellator. You fought for Pancrase.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's cool to see this stage in different parts of the globe. Like I love the Pancrase arena too. The Japanese fans is just, even their arenas are a little more silent, right? They appreciate it from a different perspective, And the ropes instead of the cage kind of favors the striker, The takedown defense is different.
Can get your butt through the ropes a little bit.
Right.
Hook your arms on there accidentally.
Right. And you can sprawl with your feet going back instead of having the cage.
There's not that
you.
edge that catches you. Because that's basic cage, etiquette. That's what you do if you're a wrestler. You drive them up against there, then they can't move any farther back.
And our guys are great there. Our guys are good at getting up on the fence, and we're good at working there.
Well, it's been super fun for me to go back and look at this because you bring such a old school toughness and appreciation for the violent nature of the sport. For me, it's more of I like the intellectual part of it too, and you've helped bring that. And watching those two, watching the Jens Pulver fight was just crazy for me because it was before I even started this stuff.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see some legends in the sport: Marco Huas, Matt Hughes, Robbie Lawler. Jens Pulver, yourself. To see you guys in a looked like almost a high school gym somewhere. I know it wasn't, but.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how far the sport, and then, you and I standing looking over the cage at Jared Cannonier, watching
awesome.
Izzy's Undertaker entrance. How cool was that?
Might be the sickest walkout ever. Damn, he did it up. He did it right that one.
We've been in some cool things.
Heck
I
yeah.
appreciate you letting me share with this.
Awesome, Coach.
With you, man.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan before, and I'm a big fan now. You're such a valuable part here. So
I appreciate it.
Thank you,
man.
my brother.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah, this is awesome. I love what we're doing here, and hopefully there's many more fights we get.
I love watching Manny Gamburyan get knocked out about 7 times. That was fun.
Heck yeah, I know, me too.
All right, thanks, Coach. All right, guys, thanks for joining us on Cageside Rewind. We'll see you next time.